welcome back to another episode of Life with Alex, and have you subscribed to my channel? Our channel, in case you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also turn on your notification bell. You get to be notified each and every time you have a new video up on YouTube.
Kama ibada.
And on my right is my co-host. I will allow yes. On my right is my co-host. I will allow him to introduce himself and maybe introduce today's topic.
Okay. Kama kawaida, naitwa Isaiah, the interior designer, contractor. Na kwa leo nimesema tu kidogo nitagusia kitu. I'm in a reflector.
Oh, yeah.
Normally I wear my overall at work. Actually, it's a nice overall. But the reflectors are courtesy of the people I buy spare parts. Nimetoka tu service leo. Na msiulize maswali mengi. The company is called German Star.
Yeah.
They sell German products for cars. To be specific, Mercedes actually. Let's not even talk about. They do that. So big up to them. They've always been there. And I like their services. If you've not known them, now you know them. They do Mercedes parts. Now last week I had a conversation and it was about femicide.
Yes.
So sijui ya boy child inaitwaje? Inaitwa homicide ama ni boycide? Ama you'll get us that name so that we're able to know tuko wapi. So we've just thought about it. The boy child seems neglected.
Yes.
And we were just chatting before we started.
Yes.
The government says they have opportunities for youth, women, and disabled. So when they're talking about women, where are the men? You know, tumekuwa kando. So it starts basically from the men down to the boy child.
Yes.
And we thought it's also good we talk about the boy child because we all
and the challenges.
we in our last episode it was more of the women and all that.
Yes.
So we thought since we were touching on the boy child kidogo back and forth, the boy child has been neglected. And I think I'd want you to start off.
So we will be talking about the challenges that the boy child is neglect.
You wanted to say boyfriend?
No, the challenges that the boy child is going through right now, and having like a younger brother and what I see him go through and stuff like that. And I will start by giving like a short story. Growing up, I used to see there have been a lot of social places around women, you know, youth and women empowerment. There are a lot of like social places whereby, for example, as a woman, I could approach maybe like an organization. I could approach like maybe like a forum. There are so many forums when it comes to women that are around women that are supporting women, that are supporting women interests. But we see very few forums currently in Kenya that are supporting the boy child, you know. Like for example, the only thing that comes in mind when it comes to boy child, more so like maybe when they're going through adulthood and everything, unless maybe after some circumcision, maybe they go for a kidogo camp, and then they are taught nini. Apart from that, now you're taught to be a man, go fight for yourself, you know, go for like, maybe you're not supposed to express your emotions, so you're supposed. So you see, a lot of guys currently, they are going through, you're being told like you're supposed to be a man, you're supposed to find solutions, you're supposed, like when somebody comes with you like with a problem, you're not supposed to cry with them, you're not supposed to. So no, like it's very hard for a guy to express themselves. And even for example, when it comes to job opportunities currently, I see a lot of women being able to talk, you know, like to express themselves, you know. From where I work, I can tell you for sure, nowadays we see like, because we're dealing with young guys, people who are just maybe like turning 18 and stuff like that. You see like, for example, a whole 18-year-old guy is being brought by the father, by the mother, to come do the process, like the process of like
a lady or a boy?
Guys. Okay. They come to our offices and they're like unable to express themselves, you know, like unabisha mlango, you are unable to talk, like ukiumuliza unataka nini. Unasikia mamake ndiye anaongea like on their behalf, you know, like I brought my son because of this and this and this. Where does that stems from? I tend to think like when we are bringing up like the guys, to focus so much on the girl child in terms of like the way you're going to educate them, the opportunities that are there, that are available. But tumesahau sana the boy child even in school, like we're supposed to have like forums, like, you know, men go maybe like for example to high school to talk to like boys, and how to become like maybe a man, the opportunities that are out there, you're supposed to be the head of the family, these are how it's supposed to be run. Kwa sababu ina affect up to like for
basically
example,
nobody prepares the boy child for the future basically.
Yes.
Okay, wow. Okay.
I don't know if it's something like you've seen.
I resonate because growing up, we do not see so many women in power, powerful offices and all that.
Yeah.
And I think these Beijing ladies talk about empowered women, and I can tell you for free. Nowadays, a friend of mine jokes like the next big car in front of you is being driven by a woman. Do that observation. I'm not so sure, but I think the empowerment has come to a point whereby yes, the boy child has been neglected, and I don't want to bring this now in the topic in the conversation because the boy child looking like a flip has become because they've realized when they make themselves feel vulnerable, they are able to get more attention. Na ndio imeleta hiyo tutaongelelea baadaye. So just pale eka asterisks, we'll revisit that of vulnerability and what I'm talking about the flip side. Yeah, you know, so when a man akitoka huko ujandoni, you're told, because you're still young, most are 13, 14.
Yeah.
Let's say between 10 to 15. You've been circumcised. You know, you cannot be told about marriage. You'll only be told things at your level. Like, this is what you expected from you as a man. And now you go and having the different cultures we meet in school. And there are some cultures that feel superior to others, like the Maasai, you know, the warrior killing a lion to you for you to be a man. And when they talk to you, maybe let me talk about during my time, when they talk to you, you feel like, hey, you have to see my champion, especially for boys who are modernized and went to be circumcised maybe in a hospital, who do not go to the bush and all that. Even identifying yourself amongst the men, they would want to draw a line like, mimi in the bush, walk in the bush. So it starts even from the men themselves putting down other men. So the boy child's problem starts first from the men who are ahead of them. Like my dad would not expect that there's some things I would be able to cry out or call out for him because he himself did not do it. So he doesn't expect me to do it. And he expects me to also tell my son not to be in that situation. But circumstances are changing. The world is becoming different. And since we've empowered the women are also getting to a level whereby we are competing for the same opportunities. And I don't think at this point we need now to start the segregation whereby opportunities are for women, and let it just be general and let it be qualification based. Like you're qualified, and it's not because your gender is superior according to it than the other. So you spoke about platforms where men are able to get help and all that. There's that one for women. Inaitwanga jile na stakingi wanaume sana juu ya violence.
Asikimia.
No, kuna ile imekaa FIDA. Inaitwa FIDA. FIDA has been there.
Child support and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was another one that came, I think it was called Grooming. But you see how men things die out. You're trying to help these people, but I think we are also pushing because most of you went through a system that unaona it was okay. As in you came out of it and you're here, so why can't they go through it? I think men should also get platforms where they're able to get help. I want to hail or thank this church, All Saints Cathedral. They have a forum that helps men, and they say it's okay for a man to cry. You get to that point whereby you feel like life imekupiga, and they mentor men to be or rather they mentor boys to be stronger men, or they mentor men to be better men. And there's also a friend of mine also have a forum. It's called, I think we'll write it on the description. He's also doing a good job. I'll mention his name. It's called Eric. He helps young men like boys after circumcision and all that, to show them the wide spectrum, not just the way we are taught that you're the head of the family. The women who can also be head of the families in their capacities, because maybe by the virtue of walisoma sana, and if you're a couple, for example, she's learned, so she'll get better opportunities. And if you happen to get maybe a lady like that, is a woman who values the status of the man in the society. You'd find that the man, however much is not earning, standing outside there because the woman is pushing the man feels, appreciated. So you'll find ndio is not earning as good, but vile anajibeba huko nje anajibeba poa. But unfortunately now, that's my opinion, according to that. Most women, when they make it in life, they would want to despise men, and they would want men to level up to a certain standard.
Really?
And you see now that's where the boy child now gets those points we discussed in our previous nini. Boy child amejikaza, amekuja kukupeleka out, amekufanya ABCD, and the least you could do is just tell the guy no. Why couldn't you say no before you start having the events, having fun, vitu kama hizo, And we spoke about it being two-sided, but let's talk about the boy child. The boy child being vulnerable and men being visual creatures. Nimingia kwa bar, ni mwana mrembo. The thought in my mind, and since sex has become something that is common, we've commercialized it. I'll buy for you drinks and I know I'll sleep with you. For the ladies, so that boy child asikuje kuonekana kama mtu mbaya, because at the end of the day, when this man does anything to the wife, they'll talk about gender-based violence, and it's more towards the men. There are also men who go through such. And keeping up as a man, because the society expects you to do so much. You're supposed to be the father, supposed to be the breadwinner. You pay school fees, you do all this, and at times you find, and especially in the current times, things have become thick. Men outside here are suffering. Hii mjengo mtu anatoka, I actually recently reviewed how much I pay my people. I will not disclose nipate watu wengi, but minimum wage kwa mjengo inakuanga I think 600 to 800, and I thought when I figure out if I have such an amount, I live in, because my sites vary and my people are still the same. Let's say they live in Kawangware, but I have a site in Kitengela. Huyu jamaa kutoka Kawangware kuja Kitengela Rulitawa hivyo, I think 400 imeenda, amebaki na sonne. So in my mind, his basic income for that day is just 400 because of transport, eating that. So vitu zimekuwa tough, and we're not even looking at these people, and especially in families when a man is not able to provide, you'd hear women walking away. So boy child bado anabaki tu akiumia, anawachwa na wife alitoka na watu na akaenda, because the girl is not able to provide, or there's another man who's convinced your wife to leave you because they're able to take care of your wife better than you. You remember there's a musician nilemorumia sana, sitamtaja jina, but it gets there, and that's, like I said, first the boy child, before even the girl child comes to oppress, or we feel like the girl child oppresses the boy child himself oppresses the boy child. That is number one. Like from the expectations from our dad, and for the men who are doing better than you by looking down upon you. But your wife is walking to work, they would be like, let me buy your car, this wanaku oppress. So boy child issues for me, as much as the girl child is a contributor on boy child going through this segregation, or marginalization, it comes from the men themselves. That's the biggest problem. Yes,
because I'm thinking, what we have seen women do before, women who have come before us, is create platforms whereby, like, we as women, we are able to come to these platforms and we get to express ourselves, whatever you're going. That there's so many forums, like, for women. There's Inua Dada, there's Usikimi, there's so many forums. Like, me as a woman, in case something like happened to me, I'm so sure I wouldn't go online and lack like a platform. But I see for guys, for example, who have been there before, like, I don't think like guys have done so much work in coming up in platforms whereby like they want to support the younger man. Case in point, in the sense that, like, for example, did we like good examples of men who have gone before you guys to create like such platforms, or do you see it like it's just like awe ni mwanaume unafaa kujikaza? Because I see for women we have so many, like, for example, if I'm stressing out, there's a forum I could go and like nikuje back nikifeel like it's okay. There are so many, names them. Online. But I haven't seen somebody like, for example, who is like, for example, maybe like in their 50s, who have come like with an organization trying to save the boy child. Because I think what has happened with women is like, women who have gone before us wanted to create like a platform, like we want the women who come after us, to have like to be safe. You can be safe here, you can talk about your issues here. But I don't see that. The only person whom I've seen quote unquote, I don't think it's like men's conference or something. I think I saw like Abel Mutua bringing up guys together, having like a forum, you know, like for example, like talking out the issues that men really face. But I don't think that there are enough platforms.
Oh, there's a guy, Zulu,
not Benjamin Zulu,
yeah. I think he's doing a good job talking to the men. I've had some forum akifanya on TV. Let me give a thumbs up. Wacha tuseme ati there are no men, there are men who are there, but like I said, the expectations zinaanzianga juu. What our fathers went through, they believe we're able to go through like them. And I just say the other thing that now that makes the boy child feel infuriated. Kama kuna kizungu kama hiyo, you'll correct me. Women, and let me not say like generalized. A percentage of women never take up their mistakes.
We don't own up to
your mistakes, and that unfortunately men, cause of the escalation of the argument or the men tend to shy away from that conversation, and you find most issues are not handled at that level because it was like a defense meeting. So the man would probably say, or the boyfriend or atasema it's okay, wache ishe juu hataki apande. And you see now, these are the things that will be eating this man, cause they'll be registering. Hey, last week they said this week they said it. It ends up.
You're trying to keep tabs of what somebody is doing.
Unakaa hivi unajiuliza mtu, cause anytime you try to bring up the conversation, cause they will not own up the mistake, that conversation will end up like, you know what, nothing has been resolved. So men will die inside because most of the men would either result to pass a point, either shouting, which will feel like oppressing the woman, femicide. If you hit your woman, it becomes another thing. So you're trying to run away from these things that society will look for you. What ends up as a man is that unakulwa ndani. You end up dying inside. And you see, the moment you die inside, mwanaume ni kama unaenda ukienda. That is one. Then there's also things we've not spoken about. We've spoken about women and all that being beaten in our previous naming.
Yes,
and even things like rape and all that. Now there's also the indecent act on men.
Oh yeah.
Now this is the worst, because I can tell you, if it happened to any man, most of them will not be willing to talk about it. Here because there's the embarrassment. They would imagine, you know. Let me give a case example. Ule mwenye naonanga wanaume, gynecologist ni wadem wa wanaume ni ob what? Obs. Let's because the name is hard. Let's just do obs.
Yes.
If you went to an obs and found another man being the obs, and he told you remove your things and put them on the table,
how comfortable would you be?
How comfortable are you? Many men would not. Like your story imeisha. And you see, unfortunately, this is a person that will understand you well. Like our women will say they will go to the gynecologist, which are women who are women, and would probably understand the female body better, and they'll be comfortable kukaa pale na wafanyiwe. You know, there's only one thing I know men would prefer, the other gender, massage. I mean, put yourself in that. So imagine mwanaume, just a genuine or an honest checkup, hawezi toa vitu zake aikele kwa meza, daktari ama awekele kwa mkono daktari angalia seme this looks like they would die. And I can tell a case, an example. I had a cousin who had not prostrate, huko mbele alikuwa maungua ama kitu kayo, but the embarrassment, and it's back in the rural area. And you see now, this thing ya mwanaume kujipiga kifua is not mostly on urban areas, it's inside the interiors, because people are brought up differently with the lack of technology and so. So my cousin aliishi na ugonjwa imekuja kummaliza, because there's some diseases that when you stay with them, they make you vulnerable to get any other disease haraka. So sele zilikuja pap, you know. So imagine that, just showing something that is hurting you, and now for example he's diseased, may God rest his soul in peace. Now imagine now when there's an indecent activity on you as a man, women will go report to the police station, they'll pick the man, they'll go to do tests and all that. A man would not, I mean that's why I believe men would not be able to go to the police station to say that there's an indecent act that was done on me. And now, since there are no places where men can go and say, you know, and to be represented with anonymity, asijulikane, na asaidike, hakuna. So most men, even who go through such episodes will never speak up, and you find their traits will change. So naturally a man, when they are not able to express themselves, wanakaga kama nitwaje sponge. Can I call it sponge?
Yeah, you suck in.
You know, your sponge, when you have it dry, and when you have it with water, when you look at it, you might not know until you press.
Yes.
So most men go through so much. Not men. Let me say the boy child, because the boys grow to become men. They go through so much and behave like the oasis that you use for flowers.
Yeah.
You can see how the oasis can keep flowers alive. That is what men mostly go through, and it's unfortunate. I wish would help men more. I'm not in a capacity of thinking beyond what I'm able to talk about today.
Yes.
But yeah, the neglect has come because of we don't have platforms that would help us express what we're going through. And I remember the other day a friend of mine asking me,
so
wewe aliniuliza inafikaga mahali unasikia kama unaweza piga nduru ulie ama utoroke uende ujifunike huko. Then I ask myself, alafu nikitoka alafu, because I know the weight that is behind me, and since hakuna platform naweza enda, mwanaume hizi enda. You see, it's very easy for a lady, and kama nyi wanaume mwana kwa jam, mwanamke akisaidia ya mtoto, everybody will be ready to help. Get a gentleman, hata kwa mevaa vizuri, suit nice, na aseme excuse me, nimeibe wallet na niko naenda home, nimeibe wallet na sema naenda home. Men will just, especially men, weende utafute kazi. Wacha uongo, tunajua con. And at times these people, some are genuine, lakini juu boy child wewe ni mtu wa kujikaza, you either tell the guy, kama unaishi Kayole, tembea uende Kayole, but kesho this guy needs to report to whatever they were doing. So tumesukuma to a point boy child ajui. And you see now the advent of tags, vitu kazi, they associate with things like this to make them feel like wanajiweza, and it's normally the wrong platforms that they get help. And such platforms end up ruining these people because they might die by the gun.
Or rather, the people who are giving them the confidence to do the things that they're the wrong things. You know, that's why like we see thieves, wengine tuseme shakahola.
In fact, shakahola chana na wezi wengi. Actually, 90% of thugs ni wanaume, and I'm sure most of them got into that because they did not have a place they could identify, nurture something that they have inside them that could help them, or get solutions to problems that are eating them as men, or get solutions to what would help them not be vulnerable. So if the society now thinks forward on how we can also try and help men or boy child aweze kuji-express better to avoid what I was talking about initially, even because most men are switching, anakuwa sim 2 because sim 2 recently I heard there was funding coming from the US government and all that, so most men wanted to identify sim 2 because wataonekana, you'll talk bad about them but nini atakuwa na kakitu. You see, I will not want men to think in those lines. If at all we have forums that will help men, sim 2 most of them ya kujipendekeza because they are lacking something and they just want to identify something. There are those people who, I'm sorry, by genes and all that, si genes kai zango, whatever, I don't know about biology, but whatever went through them, brought them to where they are, ni bahati mbaya, ni maumbile ya Mungu, but hawa kujelazimisha kuwa side B. Like you remember the other time, I'm giving a case that is recent. You remember Kasarani? The two gentlemen that were swindling men because just imagine, that's what I'm telling you, wanaume sisi wenyewe tunajigandamiza, we are killing ourselves because why would I pose as a lady to go extort a fellow man mtu anatafuta, because platform ya mwanaume kujisaidia hakuna. Ameona njia nyingine ya kufanya hivyo ni nini? Si ajifanyeni side B. Na and how they were getting money from people was robbing, beating and things like that, because maze hana otherwise. So if we are able to get platforms tasaidia wanaume wanakipitia. Na mimi kama mwanaume niko na majaribu zangu, lakini najaribu kujikaza kimaisha kwa hivyo, but I don't think everybody has the grace and the will and the faith to imagine that they will be better tomorrow. I can only pray that it will be better, but people like Benjamin, think about how you make the platform wider and also make men feel like they are hard, and it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to also, let me not say to cry, to be down ni kwa msimu. You can always go up, and especially with the relevant people around you.
What do you think of a guy, maybe, for example, who comes to you and cries on your shoulder? How would you term that, like, as a guy?
Wacha tu
would you embrace that?
Hiyo conversation tulikuwa nayo kwa wedding fulani. Asilie kwa shoulder yangu. Wacha alie tu. Nitakusikia. Lia tu. Na si kwa ubaya. See now, times are different. How I was brought up, my background has so much to do with military. So I grew up in a military setup. I went to a military school. See, I didn't see that, and you know the discipline there and how you're supposed to carry out yourself as a man. But
you don't see it as a weakness?
I'll see it as a weakness, not because it's a choice that I have, it's because of how I was brought up and how I was brought up. But let's say I was not brought up in that setup, I know. It gets to a point, I think I get there, but then my brain in a reboot, najirudisha huko kwa military camp, and then I forget that I'm supposed to feel vulnerable. But I think the people you've mentioned, if at all, even the churches, let it not just be one church that I know, let it be churches calling young men, boys, and even older men who are going through that. As in, look at divorce rates. Most of the people who suffer is men because they're not able to take rejection, number one, in the society. And I think if the platform is set for boy child from huku chini mpaka juu, I think we'll have a better country. Let's look into boys' affairs.
Last question I have for you, Isa, is that when you are at your worst, when you are at the end, when you think and feel everything is not working out, you as a guy in your generation, what do you do? Whom do you go to? Do you go to someone? Do you go to a field and scream?
Hey,
do you?
But,
really, no, I just want to know.
No, I'll answer her, but unfortunately I think she forgot. We've spoken about this before. My support system around is my wife. So wacha tudanganyane ati naenda kupigia watu kwa kelele kulia. I'll sit in my space, she'll find me in my space. We'll talk about what is going on, and let me tell you one thing. I may come through like a serious one. I can't lie to the people out here. Sina mtu anani support. The support is immense, and I wouldn't have wished for anybody else, because mali amenifikisha sionangi shida. I get to the edge, as in when it comes to work. Remember our previous conversation, the one that we had so many views. Hey, tumekapitia. And wachana, other than this, whatever we do, like now, construction has not been good.
But I tend to think it's I've been talking to a couple of people, like the person. I think
sasa wewe unajuatana na watu. Wewe, you know how we've been working. Us guys have 4 projects in a month. Mazi, now even seeing, like we said, 1 project a month that will give you returns that would also facilitate other things. It's been quite a challenge. Yeah, it's been quite a challenge. So yeah, nikipitia hizo shida zangu, me, that's my support system. I've never thought of going to reach out, because the same thoughts, like I told you, I wouldn't want somebody to go talk about my issue to somebody else. It will kill me. Number one. So I'd rather it known in a smaller circle than in a bigger circle. And that small circle is just the person I have next to me.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I think for me, for parting shot, this is what I would say. Support starts from home. As a parent, make sure for your son, whatever you're doing for them, it's enough. Spend time with them, support them, encourage them. Then from there, even like when, like maybe sons or rather children are going out here, they always know back in their heads, like in case things are not working out here, I have my family, I have maybe my brothers, I have like my sisters. I think also the support starts from home, you know. It's okay to go to your dad.
It goes back to their bringing, and I think times are changing, and I think we are the dads of now, and the dads who are our dads are still there.
Yes.
But you see, the generation it keeps on changing. We'll become now the dads who become the grandfathers.
Yes.
And I think we are lucky, and I would say I'm lucky as a parent of we call millennials. In our generation, we've seen that side and we're seeing this other side.
Yes.
And I think I'd want to encourage my children, not differently from what my dad told me, like be a man and all that. It's okay to be a man, but it's also okay to ask for help. And I would want to teach them also how to appreciate the other gender, and also how to interact and treat the other gender.
Yeah.
If they're not saying no, push them to give you an answer, so that you don't lead on something and gets you to that point where you're behind bars because of small things. That is what I would say as my parting shot. And especially for my boys, raising them up, I want to be the best for them. I want to show them that it's okay to always reach out. And I think I'll be a cool dad, or rather I'm a cool dad, I know. And now, because I'm in between, before us is Gen Z.
So, before you, it's boomers. Is it baby boomers or something?
Wagani wako mbele yetu.
No, Gen Xers. Before you guys, before millennials, I think there's Gen Xers, then there's millennials, then there's Gen Z.
Also, yeah, so me I'm in between.
Then there's
Gen Z, niko na Gen Z mtoi. Na ama
boomers wenye wako mbele kabisa. Ni Gen X, no, boomers, Gen Xers, and then there's millennials, then there's
usiende mbali, mimi nataka tu Gen Xers na Gen Z. Sasa ima niko katikati ya niko X na Z. Hapo katikati mali tuko. I think I've tasted, or rather I've seen both sides. I've tasted this side because I've been raised there. I would want to be a better parent and want to teach my kids. So I think the buck stops you parents first start by, because since there are no forums where we can put our issues or feel like we are wanted, let's start by training our own children on what to expect them to be in the society, because we are the change. The moment you impact the change, trust me, tomorrow Kenya is a better place, and we'll reduce the femicide, boycides, and homicide to the power of -0.
Yes.
So guys, it's always nice talking to you guys. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe. We are waiting to hear your views, and thank you for the last videos have been doing so well. Thank you very much. You're the bomb.
So until next time, guys.
Whoa, much love.